It's Monday night. Welcome to Monday Night Comics. Only on Comics with Dan.
Welcome to Comics with Dan. Welcome to Monday Night Comics. I have an exciting show tonight. I am welcoming back the wonderful Ian Mondrick to just talk about comics. Previously, Ian was on talking about his Kickstarter for Mongoose, which was an art book full of his dad's fantastic art. And so now we're going to talk a little bit about some other projects Ian has going on, as well as just some other projects that we've seen around that we're kind of excited to get into. So welcome, Ian.
Hey, man.
Going?
Dan, thanks for having me back. It's a blast.
Yeah, absolutely.
I so rarely get a chance to do this, and I always relish the opportunity.
Yeah, of course.
So
Now, and I mean, I felt like just the conversation in general. Not only was the book that you were talking about great, but just the conversation we had was awesome.
just two new friends having a friendly, lively chat. Two guys indoors wearing hats.
That's right.
Just having a great time because we're too lazy to do our hair, or we don't have enough of it.
That's exactly what it is. Is if I don't feel like making my hair look nice, the hat goes on.
I have grown out of my haircut, I think, possibly in March. So I have been I've been on hat duty for a while now. And I mean, it's difficult to get to the hairstylist. They live like a quarter of a mile from my house.
Right.
So you can imagine how hard it is to traverse that kind of distance with only a car and my able-bodied feet. So, well, we were just talking about that. I said we should savor the show about how you're busy and I'm busy. And I was like, isn't everyone busy all the time? And if you could not be busy, would you choose to not be busy?
And I don't think in general, no. I think in general, I would not choose to be busy, or I would choose to be busy.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, it'd be nice to not be busy sometimes, but
so overall, that's it. I did nothing yesterday. I work at home. I mean, like, except for like take care of two kids and all that stuff, right? Like, I did nothing, and it was like having bugs under my skin. Like, I kept sitting there being like, I could be doing something right now. And it's like, no, like, you are doing something. You're relaxing. You're unwinding. You're getting a rest. And it's like, yeah, but you know what would be really relaxing? Like, I don't know, working on this new idea that I have, or like getting a newsletter written, or writing the forward for a book that's coming out. And it's like, yeah, but, you know, so I agree with you. I think that's the trade-off, right? Like, I'd rather be busy than not busy. And the pain of that, the yin to that yang is that, well, now you can never not be busy.
Right, exactly. And then that never-ending guilt of when you're not busy, just feeling bad that you're not getting stuff done.
Right.
Yeah, and like yesterday, I actually sat down and watched almost an entire baseball game, which I haven't done in ages.
Nice.
And yeah. And like,
are you a Pirates fan?
I am a Pirates fan.
Because you're originally from Pittsburgh.
Well, so like my extended family's from Pittsburgh, but I lived out there for about 10 years or so. So, I see.
It's just a glass. I'm not a really big sports fan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, either way, I mean, it's expected in this area. So
it's got Budweiser on the other side of it. I'm not really a Budweiser fan.
I'm a bigger Phillies fan than a Budweiser fan.
That's very safe to say. Yeah. I mean, there's an ocean of difference between the levels of fandom there.
Right. Exactly. Okay. All right. So let's talk about some Kickstarter. So I recently got an update from a Kickstarter that I backed. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's project update number 9 for a little book called Stash Box.
Felt like I knew where this was going. Yeah. It's for once it's great news. We're ahead of schedule, and that is all due to my fast friend and collaborator, co-creator, Frederick Hornung, guest of the show, once and future guest of this show.
Yeah.
Frederick, he has been an absolute maniac. He has been updating me like multiple times a week, and turning in pages on the regular. He's doing all of the art, the lettering, coloring, all that stuff. And they just look great. I keep getting more and more excited, and we're closer than we thought. I think, yeah, there you go. That's
that's the update here. Yeah.
Can't remember what page that is off the top of my head, what panel that's from, but yeah, it's our boy Harrison looking a little rough. It's not a good evening for him, I guess, in general.
No,
but
it doesn't seem so from the few pages that I got to see ahead of time.
Yeah. So yeah, it's great. I think our original date for delivery was September. Okay. And I think we might actually beat that. I think we might be able to get this book into your hands in August if everything goes according to plan, which is super exciting. I'm excited to see it. Almost every one of the campaigns I've done has been printed. Well, I guess 2/3 of the campaigns I've run have been printed by the artist because they had specific requirements. And every time so far, I've been absolutely thrilled. And Frederick was adamant about the paper quality and the size of it and everything. He wanted it to look a certain way. And I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to get my hands on it as well. But yeah, I mean, it's great news when you can say that you're ahead of schedule and everything's moving better than you expected.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like, just so like I understand the kind of the creative process behind it, like obviously like you had this written a while ago, but is there anything that gets tweaked at this point while Frederick's still doing the art, or?
Yeah, well, not during the art. I'm waiting for him. I think maybe as of this live stream, I think maybe he's done with all of the principal art, just finishing up the colors and the letters.
Okay.
I'm very close to that, though, if I'm not exactly right. Frederick, forgive me. But the plan for this week at some point is to do a lettering pass, right?
Okay.
And I'll kind of read the book, and I'll keep a copy of the script open, and I'll proofread everything. I mean, usually that's on me. He's not retyping everything; he's copying, pasting, so they'd be my mistakes. But also just making sure everything fits and everything looks properly. Looks proper, and sometimes there's a little bit of improvisation that happens, at least in my process, where like if I don't feel the words, the dialogue that I've written kind of matches what's going on in the page for one reason or another, I'll try to tweak that a little bit. We've already had. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's about something else. But I got notes recently on a project where they were like, "Hey, I'm working on this script, and could you explain this character a little bit more?" And I realized, like, well, I need to explain it more in the dialogue as well. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
Otherwise, people reading it aren't going to get it. So this is where like a lot of final clarity comes in.
Right.
Just to make sure everything looks super smooth. Like even the stuff here, even these finished pages, like some of that stuff might change a little bit. I mean, not crucially or whatever, just a little, buffing and polishing as I
small tweaks.
Call it sometimes. But yeah.
And so honestly, like I think of Frederick first and foremost as as an artist, like a penciler and a colorist, right? But he's a great letterer too.
I think he's done a tremendous job on that. Yeah. And I've only, for the most part, only had great experiences with letterers. But there is something really nice about it all happening in house, right? Where it's like it's not like it has to get passed off and then there's like it sits on someone else's plate for a minute. I mean, usually it's not too long or whatever, but just the changing of hands takes time. And it's nice it's just nice to have it all in house and be able to message this dude on Discord and be like, yo, here are the notes that I have in a doc or whatever. And
right.
And then the rest is just we have to do the issue dress, like the inside cover, things like that. And we're going to write a short foreword, I think, for the book as well.
Okay.
And then it's off to the printer.
Nice. Very
Yeah,
nice.
hopefully sooner than later. But yeah,
Yeah.
couldn't be more stoked. Couldn't be more stoked to see Hampus's cover. Couldn't be more stoked to see Fred's cover, the prints, everything. I love getting all that stuff. So yeah, really excited.
I don't remember which color or which cover I did. I'll have to look that
Uh, I mean, I could look, but I don't know if that really makes for exciting
up.
podcasting.
That's right. Yeah.
Watch Ian check his backer report live on stream.
Yeah, I feel like I can't lose though, regardless of which cover I went with.
Yeah, so. Man, they're both awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
They're really cool.
Okay, yeah. And so then, like, let's say, like, obviously the funding period for this is over. Do you have ways that people can get their hands on your books outside of Kickstarter?
Yeah, I'm not sure if Fred has e-commerce up on his site. I think he does, but I have a shop on mine, so I'll be getting it added to my shop as soon as I have physical copies in house. And then the other nice thing is every time I've worked with a creator from Europe, it really helps with distribution and shipping, right? So it's like if you order Stashbox in the US, you're probably going to get it from me. You can go to my site. If you want to get it in Europe and Frederick's able, you can probably go through him. So you'll save a bunch on shipping and make everyone's lives easier. Nice. But I'll have physical copies up for sale on my site as soon as as soon as it's feasible. You know what I mean? Right. As soon as I can create an item in the cart and whatever.
Right. And so how obviously there's been some movement with all the tariff stuff that's going on, but is your printer, are you using a US printer or are you using a printer from somewhere else, or what's the kind of the story there?
So Fred picked the printer, so it's going to be getting printed in Germany, I believe.
Okay.
And then the way we do fulfillment is he'll be shipping me one package overseas.
Okay.
And that one package will have everything that I need to fulfill all of the US orders and whatever copies for myself and things like that. And then he'll keep his, and then it just gets a lot easier to do shipping that way. So
that's smart. That's smart. And like you said before, it makes it easier because then you're basically you're the distribution center for US orders and he's the one for Europe. So now that makes it a little simpler, sure.
It does, and I think the other part of it is I think it's one of the reasons I've had so much more fun and gotten so much more out of working on the last couple of books that I've worked on. And what's made it easier on top of that is just I don't really collaborate with people who aren't friends. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think Stashbox would have gone as well if Fred and I hadn't practically fallen in love the first time we hung out on a chat together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's really it makes every process of the story easier. And I'm not saying that's the only way to make comics, obviously. But it's the way that I want to make comics. Do you know what I mean? I'm much more interested in reaching out to an artist whose vibe I dig and style I like and seeing if we get along. And I don't mean we have to be friends, you have to hang out with me once a month or whatever. I mean, but you know what I mean? I want it to be, and then there's certain aspects of the story that, I'm friendly with, I think every creator that I've worked with. Yeah. But I mean, when you're dealing with someone who's doing the art of the book, that's a position that I essentially see as co-creator, right? It's great to have that kind of closeness of communication and not worry if you're bothering someone by sending another email, or not worrying that they're not going to say anything that you're annoyed that you asked for another change to this panel or this character design or whatever.
Right.
So, I mean, if you can do that, work with your friends or find people that share your sensibilities that you are friendly with and work with them. I guess that it all depends on what you're looking to get out of comics, right? It's, that's a big thing that I talk to a lot of my friends about all the time is the why of us doing this. And I'm doing it because I want to collaborate with people. And I'd rather do that with friends.
Yeah. No, and I mean, you can definitely tell in the finished product when a creative team has collaborated well because they are, in sync with each other versus a team that has just sort of been thrown together on a book. and obviously like you don't get that quite as much in like the indie space, I would think, because you have all these people that are extremely passionate about doing this work. Whereas in like the bigger publishers, my understanding is a lot of times they just get assigned to books, like
Yeah,
so
I would assume that's probably the case a lot of the times.
yeah. So, but like some of the best books, like you can just tell that the creative team, like they just like kind of they vibe well with each other. They get each other.
I got one of those books in the mail like a week or so ago. I have it right in
Yeah.
front of me. It's Frankie White and Adam Markowitz, Who Killed Sarah Shaw.
Oh, nice.
This was an ongoing web comic, I believe they did for a while that they collected into a book, and Frankie White and Adam have worked together a number of times. I think they're probably pretty close friends, and yeah, like just reading through it, yeah, this is a team that is really comfortable with one another. You can tell because the work is so seamless.
Yeah. And speaking of web comics turned physical copies, fairly recently, Fred announced that he is going to be turning his Seconds to Midnight into a physical copy. And if I could back that Kickstarter now, I would.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
I can't wait for that. That's going to be so good.
I won't spoil anything for him, but he and I have talked about several ideas that he wants to do, and Fred's got a bunch of cool stuff coming up. I get really excited when Fred tells me about his ideas.
Yeah, I'm like honestly, I sometimes I wonder if he's gonna think I'm like a weirdo because I'm just like backing everything that he does, and like,
No, man, me too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I swear I'm not weird. I just think
No, but that's that's a lot of it. I care less about the genre. I care less about I care more about the creators a lot of the times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a ton of indie books on Kickstarter that I back or I take an interest in just because the tagline looks great or the art looks great or a combination of the two or whatever. But a lot of the times it's like guys, it's like people that I like, right? I know that writer is good. It's a lot like directors, even if I'm not sure about the. I said the thing about I said this like an idiot before Oppenheimer came out. I was like, well, this is kind of like the most boring idea he's ever had, right? And it's like, no, dummy. Like it's like he's gonna make it interesting. He's a good director. If you're into 3-hour movies, but
yeah, you gotta be in the right mood for that.
Or just watch it in 3 parts at home, like I did.
Yeah. Well, that's like, and I personally, I know there's a lot of differing opinions on this, but like, I'm a big Zack Snyder fan, right?
Oh, you're the guy.
I know, right?
You're the one responsible for all that.
No. It's gone way too far. I will say that. I love the way how visual he is as a director. I love there are certain shots that he gets that you can just tell that was like his moment that he wanted to capture, and he captures it. But the 4-hour Justice League movie, I can't watch it all through at one time. I can barely watch a 2-hour movie all at once anymore.
To this day, the worst hang I've ever had at a movie is that 4-hour Justice League movie. I don't know. I feel like Zack Snyder was born to be a cinematographer and to grow in the role of cinematographer, right, or like a DP or something, and to flourish in there. I feel that when he hit with 300 and like Watchmen or whatever, I feel it was just like, here's my style, and this is what people want from me. And it didn't really feel like there's an evolution. Do you know what I mean? And I think that was my biggest thing, where it's like, I kind of know what I'm getting when I go to see this, and that's what I kind of get, right? Obviously, I think the fans make him a lot worse of a hang than he actually is. You know what I mean? Like, that's unfortunate. Like, but was he did the Dawn of the Dead remake, right?
He did.
I think that was him. I think he didn't write it. I think James Gunn wrote it and he directed it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
and
that
and
was okay.
to your point, I think that's a very good point. That like I would watch every single Zack Snyder cinematography movie because that is where he is at his best. When
I
he
think
tries
I
to have
think
too
yeah.
much influence on like the story and what's being written, like that's where he's not at his strongest. Which is why I think his adaptations are like I thought that Watchmen was a good adaptation. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I felt that he captured it well.
I think it's an adaptation. I think that I think Watchmen is special in a lot of ways because it's multi-layered, and I
Hmm.
think a lot of the times you kind of have to just take one direction and go with it, right? Because
Yeah.
you can't really create a film that nuanced for a public who wasn't really primed for superhero movies at the time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Personally, I think and I get shit from this from people as well. I think the one season TV series they did on HBO,
Mhm.
the Watchmen sequel. I
Yeah.
think that is my favorite season of TV of all time.
Oh wow.
I absolutely love that. I think that it is threading the needle in such a way. It's so difficult to make a sequel to this kind of like one of a kind book, and not only did they do that, but they managed to update it and make it relevant politically in such an interesting way. And yeah, I
Hmm.
just think it's great. And I also love the idea that um, in an era of, I think, of oversaturation of like certain TV series, like when things go on for like 15 seasons and they shouldn't. I think the fact that they did one season, they're like, that's it, period to the paragraph. We're not going to get any better than that. No one's coming back for another paycheck. Just, I love that. I
Yeah.
respect that take as well. So
I might need to see that then
you
because
haven't watched it?
I haven't watched it. Well, I
Oh,
mean,
message me if you watch it.
okay, I will. Well, because it's just like just the idea. Like, I guess to be fair, right? Like trying to do a sequel of the, I mean, art like arguably the greatest comic ever made, right? Like, not everyone feels that way, but you
It's
can
a
at
it's
least include it there,
it's a
right? I
it's a
mean,
landmark.
yeah.
It's a
It-
landmark period in comics. It definitely changed the face of comics, whether you like it or not. I'm not gonna
right.
I'm not gonna yuck anybody's yum or vice versa. I understand
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
lots of other really great influential comics, but Watchmen is
Yeah.
one of them, right?
Yeah.
I might even balk at saying it's the greatest. I know a lot of people who think it's not even Alan Moore's greatest work, but
Well, I mean, I feel like we could go on with this forever. His
well, it's
greatest
also the
work.
march of time. It's the same thing with movies. It's the same thing with movies, right? It's like if my son was born in 2011, there's no way I can convey to him what The Matrix felt like opening weekend.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? Because the time he's in 2020, he's 9 years old, and it's like whatever the everlasting stuff from The Matrix has just seeped in to the consciousness, right? And it's like when he sees these things in the movies, he's like, I've seen that before. And it's like, yeah, but no one ever
right.
saw it before when they saw this. And that I think is
Right.
the
Right.
kind of the issue is that and that's good. That's a good thing. As time marches on, we find new landmarks, new things that we point to, and we go, look, this was the best thing ever. For me, a landmark comic was the first Infinity Gauntlet, right? And for a lot of
Mm,
people, it's probably the Fraction and Aha Hawkeye, right?
mhm.
Both
Yeah.
totally valid choices. It's kind of dependent on how old you were or when you picked up comics, and
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's a really good point, especially because like I think the Matrix probably like captures that really well. Is it's not always what the comic or what the movie is, but what it did for the medium at the time,
yeah,
right? Like, I mean, like you said with the Matrix, like no one had ever seen anything like that. It's the same thing with like The Dark Knight Returns, right? It's not my favorite comic. It really is not. But you can't deny its influence
yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
better or worse. Yeah, I mean,
As someone who was in the theater opening weekend of The Matrix, it really there were people like yelling in the theater.
yeah,
Right, there's people going, "Oh shit!" Like it just was that wild. Do you know what I mean? Like where the audience just they got rowdy, not because it was a rowdy audience, but people were just like, "What the fuck?" Like it was
yeah,
really
what is
that great.
going on?
Yeah, I mean, the scene on top of the building, the dodge this scene with Trinity, that got an
Yeah, yeah.
applause break from the audience. Do you know what I mean? Like that's how engaged they were in '99. It was insane.
Oh man, yeah. Now I need to watch that. I have so much to watch now. because I
You've never
also
seen The Matrix?
oh no I've seen the Matrix. I've seen the Matrix.
You got to rewatch it.
I just need to watch it again. Yeah.
I recently rewatched the Animatrix, something I was a big fan of, like in the early days, and I rewatched it recently and did not disappoint. Really great. If you've
I
never
haven't seen that.
there is it's called the Second Renaissance. There's like it's like a 8 or 9 short form animes that the Wachowskis commissioned based around like the lore of the Matrix. And the two big ones, it's the Second Renaissance Part 1 and 2. I can't remember any of the creators, but it's like, hey, here's the story of what led up to the Matrix happening. Right? It's like the prequel story, and man, it rules. It really rules.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. The Animatrix is very dope.
Yeah, because the other thing that I just started, because I saw, I can't even remember what movie it was that I saw just like a little thumbnail for when I was like browsing around like streaming stuff, but it was some kind of kung fu movie. And so I'm like, man, I've never watched like I've watched Karate Kid, but like I've never watched like a real kung fu movie.
Oh, like the old Shaw Brothers stuff, or like Bruce Lee
Yeah.
films, or
Well, so I started last night. I started watching Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
oh yeah, okay, yeah, Ang Lee,
So,
yeah, it's a great
yeah.
movie.
Yeah, and it's great. It is great so far. I was a little worried that because like I've never really watched much in other languages and like relied solely on subtitles,
Right.
but it checks. I mean, it goes pretty well. I mean, I don't feel like I'm getting lost or anything. The one thing, have you watched like a lot of like martial arts or kung fu movies?
I mean, I watched my share. Yeah, I mean, I grew up like spending a lot of my summers in South Philly watching like kung fu theater on Channel 7. So like I've seen like the older stuff, like The Boy with the Golden Arm, and then there was like Bruce Lee shit and Jackie Chan shit, and then I do watch like a lot of like I'm a sucker for The Raid and The Raid 2. I don't know if you've ever seen those, but like
I've never seen them, but
The Raid 2
it sounds familiar.
The Raid 2 rips so hard. It's such a good movie. Anyway,
Well, yeah. So I wanted to know, like, the one thing I'm kind of wondering if it's like a kung fu movie, like trope, I guess, is like when they jump or when they get hit and like knocked back, they're like very clearly on some kind of like wire being across.
Well, that
just part of the movie.
That was new to I think the wire fu stuff was new to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Oh, okay.
I think, and if I'm gonna get this wrong, I'm gonna shoot myself. But like Crouching Tiger came after the Matrix, I believe. So I think Matrix was 99. I think Crouching Tiger was like 2000 or 2001.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So there was that similar thing where it's like there's this really kind of mind bending special effects, but like that wire stuff is like, I mean, people have been doing it for 20 years now, right?
Yeah.
So it's like gotten a lot better because you can kind of tell that they're kind of floating through the air. But I've seen a lot of kung fu movies where like they'll have dudes like jumping really high on the air, like and landing on walls, but it's all camera trickery. It's not like wire work or CGI or anything. It's like they have a set that's built like the wall, and then the guy lands on it like he's landing on the wall or whatever. That kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, Tony Jaa, my friend Dylan over here. Yeah, Tony Jaa is great. Tony Jaa did Ong Bak. I think he did like 3 of them. Tony Jaa is very good. Dylan, if you haven't seen the Raid 2, just like look up Car Chase Raid 2. It's one of the sickest car chases ever. It's got some of the most insane camera shots. Love that stuff. Absolutely love that stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, I honestly I don't even care if we get off the topic of comics because it's just good. It's just good talk.
Yeah, sorry for dragging it over into movies.
No, I'm perfectly happy to do that. I've been wanting to, because I want to finish. I'm hopefully going to finish that Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon tonight. It's good. It's good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's great performances all around. Great story. And you're watching you're watching something that kind of changed the way people made those movies after that. The one guy I can't
that you had sent.
Oh yeah. So these are a couple of books that popped up on my radar. I'm not sure, is this one still going? I know I sent it last week.
Yeah, so it says it was funded on the 25th, but you can
it's still available.
Available, yeah.
Yeah. I forget how I came across this one. I may have come across it on Reddit.
Okay.
Definitely think it was Reddit or maybe Blue Sky. But yeah, definitely like I think it's a first time creator. Or no,
Mhm.
wait, what's the? Oh no, I know who this is.
Great.
This is a friend of mine on Blue Sky. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I believe I think they changed names midway through, but it didn't seem to slow them down. So, yeah,
Yeah.
interested in checking that out.
Yeah. So it looks like it's a cosmic horror
Hmm.
anthology, which I do really like cosmic horror. I think it tends to lean a little bit more into like the psychological thriller type things, um like and not to bring it back into movies, but things like Shutter Island.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
And obviously this seems to have a bit more of a supernatural feel to it, which is like
yeah,
is
yeah.
part of the cosmic side to it, but it's definitely like the situation is what scares you, you know? Like
Well, yeah, I think there's uh I think about that a lot. Like my father and I would go to see movies, and he would make me read books all the time. You know, and we would talk about like what like what are the like. There's got to be like a list of things like primal fears, like someone who's very familiar to you suddenly becoming unfamiliar to you, right? Like your body or your appearance changing without like your consent or without
Mhm.
your ability to control it or whatever, and all of these things. And I think there's just there's that there's that fear of the unknown, right? And as we map more of the earth and as we get better at as Vonnegut would say, solving the puzzle boxes inside ourselves.
Mm.
I think there's less unexplored territory, right? So it's you have to kind of look to these unexplored parts to kind of really think up unimaginable dread. And the depths of space is a great way to do it, right? Like
Mhm.
uh, lots of films under the sea, sea monsters, things like that, like
Yeah.
any unexplored area. I'm currently fascinated with the core of the earth,
Mm.
right? Like not conspiracy theorist at all, right? Like it's very easy. Like we thought we understood what space was, and we did a bunch of math, and then we went up there and we were like, yeah, we were mostly right. And then we wondered what was at the bottom of the ocean, and then we did a bunch of math and we went to the bottom of the ocean and we were like, hey, we're mostly right. But like any science textbooks will tell you that like what the core of the earth is, and I'm like, well, I believe you guys, like you did the math and you've been right so far, but like you haven't been there like everywhere else you've been. So it's like I'm just kind of taking it on your word that like, oh, the core of the earth is a ball of nickel larger than Mars, and I'm like, all right, I believe you, but also like, I mean, no one's seen
Right.
it, so how do you know? And it's like, what, and I think it's fascinating, like what little like what could you put in there, like what little secrets could you put in there, what could you do to scare people about the core of the earth? Do you know what I mean? Like
Right.
I don't know. I think
Right.
it's really not easy to come up with cosmic horror ideas. Maybe hard to come up with good ones. But that's the one thing that like I just keep toying with now is just kind of like the fuck. What's in the core of the earth? Like if you got down there,
Well,
like what would you find?
I mean, if you think about it, right? Like imagine the suspense of a whether it's a book or like a story, whatever, right? Of you're just digging straight down, right? And like each time you pull back more earth, you don't know what's going to be there,
Right? Yeah.
you know?
Well, I mean, like they do know what's going to be there because if you look it up, they'll tell you. It's like, well, you go through the crust, you get into the mantle, it gets real hot, there's a lot of pressure, and then eventually, it's just like a liquid. And I'm like, okay, like I
Yeah.
believe again, fully believe the scientists, trust in science. But again, we haven't been there, and it's just like, all right, I'm believing
Right.
it. There's
Right.
like this barrier of tapioca pudding, of like this liquid that we can't drill through whatever to get to
Right.
the core. I'm willing to believe you.
Right.
But yeah, but I think that like that
Right.
unknown stuff is like where I think your mind starts to wander, right? Because there are no answers. And when you get to that realm of there are no answers, like then you can just start making shit up. And
Yeah.
that's, when you can really come up with some scary stuff. Which there's a lot of cosmic horror in Stash Box.
Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of has its fingers in a lot of different little puddles.
Yeah. Yeah. Another really good cosmic horror book that I read recently was a book called Vanishing Point from Mad Cave Studios,
Okay.
um, written by Mark Russell. It's like an anthology, and Mark Russell's done like a boatload of work with like whether it's big two or small creators or whatever, or small publishers or whatever. But it's an anthology in a sense because it's different stories. It's almost more of like a series of one shots because like issue 2 has nothing to do with issue 1 and all that, but they're all written by Mark Russell. So like I don't know if that's still considered an anthology or not, um but so basically the premise of this first issue is this guy goes out into space and which again, like you said, right, like the existential cosmic horror, space is a great place for it, right? And so it's basically like he has to go out into space, leave his family for like 20, 25 years. But once he mines enough of this, whatever, fake material that they made up, then he gets to come back, or he has to spend, X number of years. And if he doesn't get enough of that material, then he doesn't get paid for being out there. But if he goes out there, mines enough, then he doesn't have to work again for the rest of his life. Right. And so, obviously, like that sounds almost too good to be true, right? To be able to not have to, I don't know if I'd say too
Right.
good to be true.
Well,
but
yeah, I was gonna say, but it's almost like a trade-off.
balance.
Like, how many hours of your life do you spend working and away from your family? If you
Right.
added that all up, would it be 20 years? Right. And
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, well, then we're just doing it all at once.
Right.
You know?
Well, right. Yeah. And so, like, because the thought process obviously is like, that like he then gets to spend like not have to do it ever again. And now that you mention that, like how much time do we spend away from our families working and stuff like that, I hadn't even thought about the comparison of how, like, obviously we don't go into space and not see our families for 20 years at a
Right.
time, but it is very interesting the comparison of that versus how much time we spend away from our families working. Like,
Yeah.
you know so but basically, like, obviously you hear that situation and you think there's no way that that goes swimmingly. He gets his stuff, he comes back, gets paid, and everyone's happy, right? It's a
Right.
horror book. So I won't spoil it, but it was really well done. um and I liked it a lot. So I'll shoot you a link to that one too. So
Definitely.
but Mad Cave puts out a lot of good stuff lately. But
Yeah. I've heard. I
yeah,
do
okay.
think
So
I do think it is I think it's called an anthology series.
okay, yeah, okay, okay.
Also,
Oh,
there's
you just
a
mean you mean if
because
it's like it's the
I think
same writer, but
it's this. Is it the same artist too from issue to issue or?
no, different artist.
Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if he just had like a bunch of like short story ideas, and he's like came to Mad Cave and was like, "Hey,
I,
you want to
listen,
publish
I'm
this?"
committed to just doing one shots. I don't want to do stuff that's like multi-issue because I just find it too hard to like work for 3 years for a book where it's like, oh, okay, I got to the end of it. Now what's next? And it's like, it's a lot of, get to page
Yeah.
one. I don't have the stamina. Let's put it that way.
Well, and like I think that's kind of the beauty of comics in general is like I love a good one shot, but I also really love when like a creator will just build something for years and years when they have an actual
Mm.
plan, right? Not
Yeah.
not like this is making us money, let's squeeze every last dime out of it, but rather like it's an actual like long story to be told, you know. Um like actually, and a series that does both of those things, right, has an actual story but also is squeezing every dime out of it, is like The Walking Dead, right?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, like, those early trades are unbelievable, like
Yeah.
fantastic. But like now it's like they're having TV shows of like random extra characters that like showed up.
I Yeah, I was a fan from like the mid 70s or 60s, I think, of that book. And
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, like, listen, I think you grow out of things too. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's difficult when you've got a series running for that long. But I kept going until the bitter end. But Negan was when I kind of noped out.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? I'm just like, well, I kind of feel like this has gone like it's turned into melodrama. now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or misery porn or something like that. So,
Yeah.
and
Well,
also, this is my big thing, real quick about the show, right? Like, I watched the first season of the show and some of the second season,
mhm,
and then fell off of it. And here's why: is because the book is such a light, easy, good, compelling read, right?
mhm,
And Charlie Adler's art is the kind of art where it is competent and it is great, but it is also something that he can do fast because The Walking Dead
mhm,
needs to come out every 30 days.
right.
And when you're dealing with TV, especially in high def, uh, it's just like I can't get over how much these people must stink. Really, they're so dirty and sweaty all the time. I'm just like, fuck, like this isn't even like I don't even want to watch this. Like I'm bummed out now. Do you know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah.
imagine the
Yeah.
last time these guys took a shower in something that wasn't a river. Do you know? I'm just like,
Right.
ugh, no
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
just noped right out of that.
yeah. Yeah.
But but
And yeah, no, I mean, and it's interesting because I think they just recently, I don't know if they finished or if they're still doing it. They released all this Walking Dead Deluxe stuff, which is
oh,
just,
okay.
like, it's colored. The issues are colored.
Yeah, I saw they
And
put
so,
color in it too, and it's just like that was all right. So we're gonna do the whole
in
thing. We're gonna
theory,
do all
like,
like whatever one.
yeah, like, I love a good colorist, right? Like, like I've said several times that, like, colorists are extraordinarily underrated in comics because they can add so much. But at the same time, did we really need that? Like,
Yeah. Didn't they release a movie in black and like it came out in color and then they released it in black and white. Like I think it was like a Tarantino movie or something. I can't remember, but I'm just like,
well,
oof, like I'm not watching that in
they
black. Like
they did that
kind
with
of.
your favorite movie,
Oh no,
the
that's
Snyder
right.
Justice
They
League.
did. They did a black and white Justice League movie. Cool.
Yeah. And so,
I mean, like
like,
it's
even though
already
I am
so
a Zack fan,
desaturated anyway. What the
um,
fuck?
I was happy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I liked the weird aspect ratio. I actually thought that was a good choice, but the black and white, I didn't need that to happen. It's literally just grayscale. Like, it's not like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't. I don't know. There's lots of good, like, have you ever read the Concrete comics by Paul Chadwick?
Oh, a couple of issues way back in the day. Yeah. But those were
Those
always
are
a lot of
those are
fun.
great. Yeah, that's more black and white, that he utilizes the black and white medium, or I guess, like, choice, right, really well.
Yeah, yeah,
Um
yeah.
on those. So that's a good one of those.
Yeah, I think there's a black and white story in me somewhere. I just haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, there you go.
But I like the idea of just doing something in grayscale.
Yeah. I think it's important to have, like, a reason for it. Not even a reason,
Right.
but like for it to be a meaningful black and white, not like, okay, I'm just not gonna color this. Like,
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's better for the budget if it's black and white.
yeah. So this one I looked at, that you sent me, I looked at, and this looks like some, like, really underground stuff.
Yeah. This is my man Chris Stahl.
Uh-huh.
You may know him as the Longbox Punk.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So this is his first attempt at getting a comic together. I'm not sure who the artist is, but I mean, this. Here's the thing. Like, um, I got into music very heavily in like the early '90s.
Mhm.
And so like for me, a lot of like my first stuff was like DIY punk stuff, right? So like
Mhm.
we had a really really good punk scene in the area that I lived in Lehigh Valley, and I one of my first creative things that ever came to fruition was a zine. It was
Mm.
like, I mean, I had a this is like I didn't even have like a word processor or a computer. Like I had a manual typewriter, and I would type things out and then cut them out and then paste them onto other 8.5 by 11 pages and then photocopy those and then like saddle stitch them together myself. And like
Dang.
I mailed a bunch out to people and I would put them up in punk stores and stuff. And I think we did like 2 or 3 of them. Like a lot of my friends helped me, and this just really reminds me of that. Is like it doesn't matter how you do it, just get it done, right? Like if you want to do it, just do it.
Yeah.
It it's I think it kind of really embodies the DIY ethos. So I'm supporting it.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, like, it's gonna be like the small, like, ash can sizing, and
Yeah, it's a really short book too. Again, it's kind of almost feels like a proof of
yeah,
concept. You know what I mean? But
yeah, yeah.
he's not asking for thousands of dollars, so it's like
No, 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 no.
but
It's
and like that's yeah.
yeah, and look, I mean, look at that. Like, he's well over his goal. So
Yeah,
that's, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
and that's a lot of backers too. I think for a smaller project like this, and like you can tell me if I'm like completely out of it, but I think for a smaller project like this, the number of backers I think means a lot because then they can, go out and share this with people, show
Yeah.
people, like things like that. But yeah, I think that the more, I don't know if I want to say like homemade vibe, but like it captures that the punk culture. Like
Right.
I
Yeah, yeah.
was I was never I was never actually a part of that when I was younger. I definitely wanted to be, but I never had the I don't know, I always cared like what people thought too much, I think. But
Oh yeah. Well.
yeah, like I bought my skateboard and then was like too scared to do anything real on it. And yeah, so
I hurt myself many times on my skateboard. I could never do anything on it.
nice.
So we're talking about like 3 or 4 years of skating, and it's like I couldn't even do a kickflip. I was just terrible, uniquely uncoordinated with my feet.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean I was like in a band in high school. It wasn't a punk band, but I was in a band.
Nice. What'd you play?
So I played bass.
Nice. All
Yeah.
right.
So
That's
yeah.
is that where our slap and bass intro came from? Is that you or is that
I did actually make that music. Yeah.
that
That was
rules?
yeah. Thank you.
I was gonna bring it up. I didn't know we were coming up, but like, yeah, I was like the opening music got me hyped.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
so almost all of the music, unless it's specified otherwise, all the music that's on my channel, I make
awesome.
on yeah. So it's honestly part of the fun, right? Of like even having a channel. Like I had somebody come to me and ask me if they wanted if I wanted them to like edit my videos for me so I could do like the just like make the videos and they would like do the editing and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm good. Like like it's
Right,
part of the
right,
fun. Like I like pulling it all
right.
together. But
Again,
no, this,
DIY, man.
yeah,
You're doing it all
yeah,
yourself.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. But no, this definitely looks cool. And I like recently, oh, there's Chris right there. And then
Two
another
Chris's,
Chris. Two Chris's, yeah.
the two
Um,
Chris's.
yeah. And so I I only recently got my first like couple ash cans, and I don't know what it is. There's something magical about them that's just exciting. One of them is Frederick's actually. How did I
You
get
got
that?
the Seconds to Midnight one.
I did get the Seconds to Midnight one. I don't even remember how I got it now that I think about it.
He
I don't know if
probably
he just,
sent it to you.
I was gonna say he probably just mailed it to me. Yeah, he's that's the kind of guy he is. So, um, he probably just mailed it to me. But it's just cool. It feels very 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 real. Very like someone put a lot of time and like love into it.
It is it's an incredible feeling to hold something that you created in your hands like that. Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
it's something that I never really get tired of.
Yeah.
I think this is the one I maybe heard about on Reddit. My memory's shot. Who knows?
I mean, it look like right off the bat, like freaks me out quite a bit. So
Listen, huge fan of pupilless eyes. Always a big fan. Right? Never not creepy.
yeah, I don't think I could look at that and think like, yeah, that's normal. Yeah.
Right?
The name of this, I need your skin. Like like I just like I don't like it. I don't like the name because it's uncomfortable, and that's the point. Like like
Right,
like
right,
mission
right,
accomplished, right? I don't like it because it's not a good name for a horror book. I don't like it because it's like look at that. So who's the creator of this? Because
I don't know. I saw Joey Galvez's name up there. I'm not sure.
Geek Collective.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Um,
this is.
Story created by Joey
Yeah,
Galvez.
there you go. There you go. Ellen
Uh,
Dunford.
Brian Balondo, Dave Lentz, published by Geek Collective. I feel like I haven't. Have you heard of Geek Collective before?
I
Like
think I have. I know Joey. I know Joey Galvez. I've been on a couple of calls with that guy.
Okay.
But yeah, I think this is the one that I saw on the on one of the subreddits.
Okay. This cover on the left here reminds me of Mignola and Hellboy.
Yeah, I think it's a definitely looks like
Homage.
an homage to that. Yeah.
Yeah. I just read that for the first time like
Yeah.
last week. Yeah.
How'd you like it? I mean,
It's
kind of.
great.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna
great.
say. I'd be surprised if you said otherwise.
Yeah. No, I mean it's
Ugh,
like
Hellboy, fucking boring. Nobody says that.
no, I like it's weird because like I read that book like the first they call it an omnibus, but it's just like the first like couple stories. But like I've never had a character where like I read just like the first couple stories and like I would like die for him now. Like he's just great. Like he's just like he's like cool but also like you know
Mm-hmm.
like talking smack in the middle of fighting these like giant frog demon things. And but this, I mean, look at that, like this art looks great.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Never a shortage of good books on Kickstarter. Never a shortage of good horror on Kickstarter either.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like I feel like I haven't gotten like I got into horror like fairly, I don't even want to say recently, but like not all that long ago, right? And um like I'm not a big horror movie fan. What is this? This is like some it looks like it's something completely different. Batgirl bootleg fan fiction.
Got it. So it's like something that comes along with it.
Okay. But
Hmm.
oh, but actually that brings me to a good point. I recently got sent this book from Fantagraphics.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, and so like I don't know if you've seen these like Atlas
Oh,
comic
Jesus, it's
libraries.
big. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay.
and like it's like these old EC books, right? And like it's absolutely gorgeous. But
Oh.
um I mean, I like this is volume 6, right? And so like this is going to come out in I think August, but they have 5 other volumes. They're not all horror ones, right? Like so there's like an adventures and a terror one that was the first one, but like they did like a free comic book day issue too.
Hmm.
Where they like reprinted a bunch of stuff and like Oni Press has the rights to all the EC stuff. So it's crazy. Like the reprinting of all this like pre comics code / like still trying to get away with stuff during comics code stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So but yeah, I mean like horror can be I think maybe I just didn't never really realized how many different things like horror can be as a genre, you know?
I think it's a. I think its primary function is to kind of help us externalize our fears.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay.
It's to kind of take the stuff that's troubling us inside our head and take it outside of our head and give it a physical form so we can interrogate it. Right. I a lot of the times I look at writing and creating comics as therapy, right? Like the things that scare me usually find their way into the stuff that I write. Like Stashbox is about two teenagers, right? And they're going out to have some illicit fun, like teenagers are wont to do, and they make a decision that forever changes their life. One snap decision. I have a son who's 14. He's close to being that age where, between the ages of like 18 and let's say 23 or 24, right? Like you're technically an adult, but I think
Right.
anyone who's made it out of 23, who can now rent a car at a lower rate, is like, I wasn't really an adult at like 19 or 20, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
but you're still on the hook for all of those adult things, and
Yeah.
you think you're an adult, and part of growing up is testing your boundaries, but also sometimes that leads to pain or tragedy or whatever. So
Yeah.
like that wasn't the idea when I started writing Stashbox, but the more I got into the story and the more I got into the motivations of these characters, and like what is scary about this to me, like that's what really kind of surfaced, you
Right.
know.
Right. And
um
yeah, and I mean, I think that's probably why I like the existential horror stuff a little bit more than just straight up like like slasher stuff, right? Like
yeah,
I'm not all that concerned about like going into a haunted house and having a monster attack me. But I
right,
am
yeah,
concerned about like you said, like snap decisions changing your life, whether it's for the better or worse, and you don't know, like stuff like
yeah.
that, real
and i
stuff.
and I think that really on that point, I think that's what that makes horror today so interesting, right? Because
Mm.
at Frederick's request, a couple of months ago, I watched a movie called In a Violent Nature,
Okay.
which is a slasher movie from the perspective of the slasher himself, right?
Hmm.
And this movie that he's a big fan of, and the Terrifier films, right? Those are films directed by people who are physical VFX artists,
Okay.
right? And obviously now in the age of CGI and all that stuff, like physical VFX are at less of a premium. And
Hmm.
these guys are making these horror movies and they're not imbuing them with a bunch of themes, or they're not trying to elevate them or whatever. They're trying to make gory stalk and slash horror. But the artistry behind that, the
Mm-hmm.
light that they're trying to preserve is these physical effects, right? Like it's like the
Right.
movie exists for you to watch this guy's artistry as he like puts a pencil through somebody's eyeball or like chops their leg off or whatever, right?
Right.
And it's like I don't find that to be an invalid reason to make a horror movie. It might not be my
Yeah.
favorite genre of horror movie, but also like, yeah, man, like anytime I see a pinball machine somewhere, I fucking play it because pinball is like a dying thing. Like they're not making
Hmm.
it, like they're still making pinball machines, but they're not making like a shit ton of them. They're not everywhere.
Right.
And it's like soon that's going to be a harder experience to have. Soon those types of movies are going to be harder to see. So whatever it is, I think there's like some sort of there's some side of like sort of like catharsis, right? There's like some
Mhm.
point to it existing, and I think especially for the last, let's say, like 10 years or so, things have been getting progressively scarier, and I think it's nice to be able to put those things somewhere outside of yourself and look at them, and I think that kind of helps you understand them a little bit more. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think horror serves a variety of purposes. And like,
Yeah.
and you were talking about, you're not worried about a guy in a hockey mask coming to kill you, but like imagine people when they saw Halloween for the first time. And it's
Yeah.
like they're in the suburbs.
Right.
Nothing bad happens in the suburbs. And
Right.
it's like, yeah, and like no one's even answering the door when you
Right.
knock on it screaming because they don't want to get killed by Michael Myers either. It's like you thought these people
Right.
were your friends. You're fucking alone out here. And it's like
Right.
that is scary, right? Is like,
Yeah.
if there was a maniac chasing me with a knife and I was all bloody and I knocked on my neighbor's door, would they fucking let me in? And it's like, probably not, right?
Right.
It's like,
Right.
we'll
Right.
call the cops for you. And it's like, I think all of that stuff is really interesting. There
Yeah.
was a period where horror movies was mainly like religious, right? Like The
Hmm.
Omen, Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist. And then all of that changed, right? Like it just wasn't like, well, the only thing scary is like punishment from God or whatever. And it's like,
Right.
no, this everywhere it's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's interesting you bring that up because, like, so my brother-in-law, he's a Catholic priest and has done a lot of like he shadowed, I guess, someone that is like the main exorcist in our diocese
You
and has seen some stuff. And
I believe he has seen some stuff.
yeah, I mean, it's yeah. So just to hear about and I mean, obviously, like there are like you can believe or not believe, right? Things that are real or not real. But when it comes from somebody that you've known, I've known this, that my brother-in-law since he was like 12. right?
Yeah, right.
And then he like tells me these. It's like it's hard to discount those kind of things, So,
Right.
um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Personal experience is a very powerful thing, man.
yeah. Well, and I know the pinball was an example, but it's funny because my father-in-law actually collects and works on pinball machines.
Oh
So
Jesus! Does he have a background in like electrical engineering or anything,
he
or is
does,
he?
sure
See
does. Yep.
that? Yeah,
Do
because
you have a
you
pinball
need
machine? Do
no
you
no
get
no no no. And that's why because I don't know shit about electronics. Like I can't. That thing will break day one. And I'd be like, no, I'm
Yeah,
screwed. Like it's gonna cost like $500 to get someone to come out and look at it.
right.
Yeah, all those things are fuses and lights. Like I'm not messing with any of that. I'd love to have one. Don't have the
Yeah.
money or the knowledge to take care of it.
Yeah. So if I had the space, that's my problem is I don't have the space. I
Right.
think I'm actually pretty sure that he's asked me and my wife about like, do you guys want one? Like, do you want me to get
Oh,
one for you? Which would be sweet. Um, he has right now four of them in his basement.
do you know what?
And
Do you know what for they are?
yeah, I do. They're
Oh my god, I'm gonna.
yeah. One of them's the Comet. It's like a roller coaster one.
Yeah, I know the comet. I know the comet. Yeah.
One of them is Flash. It's not. It's weird. It's not Flash Gordon.
Is it older than Comet?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah. A lot of like the '60s ones and '70s ones, I'm not too familiar with, but like the '80s and the '90s,
Yeah.
especially like. Well, go ahead.
Yeah. He
Comet's a good
has.
one though, man. I haven't thought about that in a while.
I love that one. That's probably my favorite that he still has. Oh, it's not a good. I don't know if you can see
Oh,
it.
is it like a Saturday Night Fever one? Like kind of like a dancing one, or
It's not. It's like got like this guy. Wait, is it not? Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me.
oh yeah, I think it's just doing your.
Yeah, this one.
That does not look very familiar to me. I mean, it looks sick.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that one looks cool.
And then he has. Oh, he has. Hold on. Hey, Kara, does your dad still have the black hole pinball machine? What's that, Kara? Okay.
Is that the one? No, is that the one with the two levels?
It is. Yeah.
Oh my god! That and Space Shuttle. I believe Space Shuttle had two floors, but oh, Black Hole was so much fun.
So the black hole.
Look at
He
that.
has that, and then but it has a sister machine.
Strictly 100% pinball stream now. That's all this is.
You know what? I could do it. I could do that.
I don't know if I know
The-
Haunted
Its,
House.
its sister machine is haunted house, which he used to have. It has 3 levels, which I can't really show here.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I've ever played Haunted House actually.
That one I can't like that one's my favorite that he's had. He sold it because some guy like gave him like an offer that he had to take.
Couldn't refuse. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So, and he also has like an all mechanical soccer one, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
Um,
Listen, those were better than I was expecting. I was expecting them to have like some of the ones that are in wide like Adam's Family or Twilight Zone or
yeah.
something. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
he is a legit enthusiast. Yeah, it's awesome. So I've been playing. I've been dating my wife for dating her, then married to her. Yeah, I'm not still dating her. I guess sort of, but 17 years, Kara. 16 years.
I'm sure she's thrilled to hear you ask that question.
Yeah. She's probably laughing at me, honestly. Um,
My
okay.
running joke is I pretend I don't remember my wife's birthday.
Nice.
I'm like October 7th, right? And she just looks at me. I was like, I know. It's the 3rd. And then she gets really mad and I was like, I'm kidding. I know it's the 4th.
Yeah. So this is another we should probably talk about comics too, right? although I could talk about pinball for a while. This is another Kickstarter that I backed. I got a chance to read the first issue of this, and the creator Ben Lacey, he actually put I don't know. Oh yeah. So I love this part. I believe my comic book so much that you can read all of Samson #1 for free here with no sign
Wow.
up. So um, he's like you can read a PDF of it or whatever, but it's his kind of idea with it is that there are so many Jewish comic creators from the past, right? But like no Jewish superheroes. The only one I can think of is the Thing, right? And his Jewish background is like, you know, it's not brought up a ton, but
Sure.
this is basically a story that has they during the Holocaust the Germans tested on twins in particular quite a bit. And so in this story, this boy and his brother get tested on, and he gets superpowers from it and then becomes like the Nazis' worst nightmare. And then there's all these different sort of stories that unfold. And I think that he has uh, just a boatload to tell with this. And it's all it's all very thrilling, and yet he remains very like sensitive to the realities of what happened in in those times. And so yeah, I backed this one because it's just I ended up getting he had a deal where he did the first and second issue, like physical copies of them. So this was
Yeah, I
a
can see him doing a lot of the homage covers and stuff.
yeah, that Alex Ross one was pretty cool. The
Yeah.
where did it go? Oh, that right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see.
Yeah. So this was definitely a good one. And then there's another one I wanted to show off. Very different kind of vibe than this one, but this one's actually still going, and I still need to actually back it. So, but I had the creator's name is Zach Chapman, and it is something called Dino Knights. All right.
Oh, I think I've heard of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is very much like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles vibe, right? Um, except like obviously you replace turtles with dinosaurs and ninjas with like Arthurian legend knights, right?
Yeah.
And so like to be honest, he sent this to me. I think he found me on Blue Sky and sent me this, and like I looked at the name of it and I was like, man, like this seems real goofy. But but
It
man,
really the logo and everything really kind of reminds me of. It almost seems like something I maybe forgotten from like Disney.
right,
You know, from like the Gummy Bears era or something, where
right,
I was kind of like, oh, were they a thing and I just forgot
right.
about them?
Well, it's
Like they
like Street Sharks is making a comeback. They're making a Street Sharks book.
what does making a comeback mean? Did Street Sharks? Listen, let me ask you this, Dan. Did Street Sharks ever leave? Were they ever not cool for a period of time?
I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm the only person that knows that they existed. You know,
Yeah,
like I love Street Sharks, but yeah, they're getting a new comic, so that's exciting.
I was a
Um,
little. I was a little too old for Street Sharks. My generation Street Sharks were Mad Balls. Do you
I
remember
don't know.
Mad Balls? They were just
No.
balls, but they were like, creepy and goopy. Like one was just an eyeball.
Oh,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so um, no, this was really good. I read. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. I read this very early in its production, so I'm not 100% sure how many issues of it I actually read. But I read a good bit of it, and
The
it's a
art's
lot of fun.
super. Yeah, the art's
Yeah,
super clean. Yeah,
yeah, it's great.
coloring really looks great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's solid. Oh, and I don't think I've even seen this part. He's got the actual like character outlines here.
God, I'm such a sucker
Yeah.
for character sketches like that.
Oh, look at this.
Crystal, look at that. Look at you.
Yeah, there we go.
Everybody, look at I know Leslie Julian too.
Let's see. Who else do you know? Do you know Lydia Turner?
I don't know Lydia.
Oh,
Unfortunately, almost 75%.
there you go. That's not bad.
Is that right?
And so the one thing that he's doing on this that I think is kind of a cool way to do the Kickstarter is you can add on a digital subscription to future issues. So you pay so much and he'll like send you the PDFs of them. He is not doing it for the physical issues. And I asked him about it because I'm like, I want to do that because I know I want the other issues, but I'd rather have them like the paper ones. And he said that he's not going to do that because he doesn't know what like the shipping costs are going to look like. So he doesn't want to like wildly miss on whether it's like not in his favor or like, you know, whether it would be him losing out on a bunch of money that he would need or the opposite where he would end up overcharging too much, you know. So
let's see. I don't see the price of anything coming down soon.
Yeah.
This looks great. This is a lot of fun. I know where I know this guy from. I've backed at least one issue of A Haunting on Mars.
Oh, nice. Okay. Nice. Speaking of comics, I read Tomb of the White Horse.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's funny because you mentioned earlier about things like horror being a way to put what scares you like out there and like kind of like address it, right? I feel like with this, like I guess I don't know if I want to. I'm not showing it on purpose because I don't want to like spoil anything. Where can people get Tomb of the White Horse?
Right now, you can get them digitally on my website,
Okay.
ianmondrick.com. There will be a Kickstarter coming very soon for the final issue, Tomb of the Pale Horse. That Kickstarter will also have the trade for all 4 issues, and then that's going to wrap it up. But that'll be your next opportunity to get a physical copy of White Horse or any of the 2 books that followed it.
So wait, so are you gonna collect all of them together then?
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
Okay.
So the idea is the Tomb series is like 4 separate stories about the end of the world, like as it's happening.
Right.
Separate characters, separate storylines, thematically related. Right. Each color represents one of the horsemen of the apocalypse. Right. Like there's the white horse of conquest, the red horse of war, the black horse of famine, and the pale horse of death.
Okay.
So we started in 2019, and I think Black Horse was the middle or end of 2022. So it's been a bit since we've run the last one, but we're getting ready to wrap everything up in a beautiful, heart-wrenching fashion.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I loved it. I just sent you a private chat because I want to make sure I'm not spoiling things that I shouldn't.
Oh yeah, sure. You can say that. That's fine.
Okay. So but basically what this story, at least the Tomb of the White Horse starts out as, right, is like there's this guy, what's his name? Hold on a second. Tell me what his name is. The guy that is just coming back to work.
Oh, Sam?
Sam, that's it. Yeah. Okay. So he's just coming back to work. These guys work on a dock or in a warehouse. And this suspicious like massive package gets dropped off, which also I thought was interesting. How long ago did you write this? Because we have AI trucks, which is something that's definitely going to happen.
Well, it's a self-driving truck. Yeah. I probably started writing it. I came up with the idea sometime probably in like 2015 or 2016, I think.
So you're predicting the future like The Simpsons now?
No. Just I mean, when we wrote it, when we got around to this version of it, self-driving cars like were a thing, right?
Oh yeah.
And we were also kind of looking for a way around, like we didn't want to have somebody, evil or what, you know what I mean? We didn't want to tip our hand
Yeah.
initially. So like the idea that no one was driving it, that there's no force behind this, there's no one you could track down and ask them, where did this come from or whatever.
Right.
We were kind of like avoid not painting ourselves in a corner. We were trying to avoid giving us like an easy out or an easy tip of the hat. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's what they fear the most. I would say it's kind of like the worst thing that's ever happened to them.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of a manifestation of their trauma in a lot of ways. Like,
well, and it's interesting because like I don't want to. I'll talk about it, and you tell me to shut up if I'm doing
that's
it
fine. Go ahead.
So the one guy touches it and sees like the abuse that he experienced.
Okay? Yeah. He saw a very overbearing and abusive parent.
Yeah, and so he's horrified by it, right? I mean, and I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like it's because he hasn't addressed it.
Right? Yeah. Right.
And then Sam, on the other hand, the guy that just came back to work, he sees that when his wife died, right? And and so obviously still very distraught and upset by it, but is able to handle it because he's spent this time processing it to a certain extent. Is that fair to say, or?
Yeah, the idea, the kind of loose thematic idea behind it all is conquest, right? And we have three guys who work, as a team, right? They're coworkers in the same job or whatever, and it's kind of using the box is kind of using these emotional levers to manipulate them, right? And I wanted to kind of give a variety of personalities and have them all react in different ways. And where Sam kind of internalizes his, because as you said, like it's something that he is trying to work on inside himself, right? It's something he's trying to process. And when Tyler sees it, it's something that he's definitely running away from. And you can maybe see a little bit of that psychology in the way that he acts. Because he runs away from it because he definitely doesn't want to deal with it. And then there's another character in the book, Noah, who sees it and believes it to be something that it is not, and immediately just does what it tells him to do. And it's kind of like it is all this thing kind of using their weaknesses or their trauma in a way to kind of get them in the place that he wants, to kind of conquer them, right? Like he divides them by showing them these things that are painful, and then they're unable to stop what happens at the end of the book, which I won't spoil.
Yeah,
but
I'm not going to go any further than this page, but I think that people need to get this. I'm very excited to read the other ones. I haven't had a chance to check into the other ones, but I also definitely will be getting the physical copies of these for sure.
Oh, you're gonna love them. Yeah, they're all they're all a little slightly oversized. They're all a little bit bigger. Benjamin Philby, who is the co-creator on the entire Tomb series, a guy that I wouldn't have been able to do any of this with. He was very adamant about the printer that we used, the paper weight, the cover weight, all of that stuff. Which on one hand is absolutely not on one hand, but is great for two reasons. Number one, it takes all of that stuff out of my decision. I don't have to make any of those decisions. I'll just send me the invoice and we'll pay it. And two, it is because I know that and Frederick is the same way, right? Like I know that they have skin in the game, right? Like they want this thing to showcase their art the way that they feel that it needs to be seen. And like that is, I think, another reason that getting the physical copies are so great. And holding them in your hand is pretty awesome. Fun fact, I'm a big hip hop fan, and the direction that I gave Ben for this page, the bottom panel on that page is make the office manager look like Action Bronson.
Nice. That's funny.
So that's
yeah.
So that's him. And I mean, this book went through a couple of iterations. We got an ash can of this that was different than the version that you have now. Like we completely kind of retooled everything after like an initial first pass when we realized we didn't have it. But this was an absolute blast. I will admit to reading through them every once in a while, and sometimes you go back and you look at your old stuff and you cringe in places. You're like, oh, I could have done that better. I could have done this better. I don't really cringe at all when I read any of these. I'm like, yeah, these kind of rock. I like these. They're really good.
It absolutely rocks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I love and listen. Like I'm a sucker for like simple foreshadowing. Like you got him just dead-eyed staring directly at the camera. I'll be fine. Everything will be fine. I obviously like. What are we doing here? Like we know. Like you're not buying the book if everything's fine. And, like spoiler, everything goes great, and they all go home after an awesome shift. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
yeah. I'm such a
Imagine-
sucker for stuff like that.
Imagine if a horror book did that.
The
I
re-
don't know if I would be mad or if I would just be impressed that someone had like the stones to do that.
If you're looking for a horror movie where nothing happens, some people would say that that's Skinamarink, but
Okay.
I think Skinamarink is kind of interesting, but you know, there's some people who said it's a 2-hour movie where nothing happens.
Okay.
So, and I mean, listen, I don't know, I had trouble arguing with them, but yeah, but I'm so glad you liked it, man. This was it has been a long journey, and we're getting close to closing in on the final chapter. The art for Pale Horse is completely done. It's off to colors now. Letters are already lined up, so like things are moving pretty quickly, and we're just super excited.
And so does Ben Philby, does he do all the books or
Ben
just this one?
Ben Philby is the artist and co-creator on all of the books. Yeah, it is his art all the way through. We've switched up colorists and letterers throughout most of the book. Although I believe the team for Pale Horse is going to be identical to. I'm sorry, I don't believe the team for Pale Horse is going to be identical to Black Horse.
Okay.
Yeah, we just we fell in love with the collaborative process with all of those guys, so we just decided to not fix what wasn't broken.
Yeah.
But everyone, I mean, but absolutely everyone that we've worked with has been amazing. Like I've been so lucky to work with Zach Sam, who did the letters on this, who was like one of the first people I ever worked with, one of the first people who ever did letters for me. Leslie Atlansky, who's just a phenomenal colorist, did the colors for this. Danny Lohr did the script edits. Who's gone on to do a lot of work. Yeah, and just a ton of like other people doing pinups and pin designs and all sorts of other stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you'll have to have me. I'd say have me and Ben back on, but Ben also, like Frederick, is across the pond, so it's kind of getting the time frames right is a little difficult. But
yeah, and like I know like there's a couple of people that like they do like to like watch the stuff that I put out, but it's like I this is the time that I'm able to do this stuff because I put the kids to bed and then come here. So I wish I could make it a little more accessible of a time. Kind of the way that it is. With Fred, I had to do like that wasn't a live stream, so I spoke with him like in the afternoon one day.
And then just pre-recorded it.
Yeah.
It's always
because he, I think it was with him, where I think I completely messed up the time difference, and he like messaged me like 30 minutes before the time we were supposed to meet, but the day before I thought we were supposed to meet.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry because I had already pushed it once, but I'm really glad that we got to connect because like as you know, Fred's awesome. So.
He's a great guy. Yeah. He rules. Yeah, man. You'll have to have me back on. Like I said, I'll hopefully if you've read the other two by then, I'll come back with a couple of approved images from Pale Horse and we can check that out because it's
there we go.
It's gonna be a blast. I love talking about it already. So
yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, honestly, anytime you have anything, anytime you don't have anything, anytime you want to just
hey, I love that. Thank you.
Talk, you just say the word and I'll set something up. So
Dan, you're a real one. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you too, man. I think that's going to be where we close out. I feel like the last time, so I normally do an hour. I feel like the last.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I am the king of digression, right? I can't stop bringing up movies, or I guess in this case also pinball, for like the life of me. So, yeah. So that's on me. I have trouble staying on track.
No, I actually look forward to not staying on track. So
Good stuff.
it's fun to talk about whatever we want to talk about. So but yeah, I think that's probably where we're gonna have to close
Okay.
out for the night. But thanks
We'll
again for coming on. And
thank you. Yeah, we'll follow up again. We'll do a kung fu movie stream. All right. We'll
yes.
we'll watch a couple of movies and then we'll come back and we'll talk about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll
All
definitely do
right.
it. But
Dan,
all right, man.
thank you so much, man.
Thank you. All right. Thanks everyone. Thanks for watching.
Hey.